I've previously mentioned that I've never played any of the Gen 1 legendaries or the one lone mythical, but today we're going to change that, running Mewtwo. Rules are in the description. Mewtwo is a Pokemon that doesn't need an introduction. It's the most powerful Pokemon in Generation 1, and is the most powerful typing in Generation 1. It also learns the best badge boosting move in Generation 1, but unfortunately that doesn't come until level 81, and Mewtwo is going to be beating the game well before then. It also helps that it starts with the most powerful move it can learn, Psychic, and learns virtually every TM which you can see on the left hand side of the screen, but the only notable ones are Ice Beam, Body Slam, and Thunderbolt, and I'll touch on those when the time comes. It goes without saying that in the early game, Mewtwo is going to be doing the bare minimum, fighting only the mandatory bug catcher, which I'm not going to show because Weedle is easily one-shot by Psychic, and Brock stands no chance against our genetic freak. While I do have to two-shot both Geodude and Onix with Psychic, what are they going to do to Mewtwo? The answer, absolutely nothing. As I head towards Route 3, I'm going to talk about a few things. The first being, I'm going to briefly cover Mewtwo's stats. I mentioned it's the strongest Pokemon in the game, and with 154 base special, paired with 130 speed, there's nothing that's going to outspeed you or hit you hard enough. In fact, the average of Mewtwo's base stats is 118, which is phenomenal and higher than some Pokemon's highest base stat. And in fact, now looking at Mewtwo and all that, I really want to run the Megas through X and Y, especially Mega Mewtwo Y and that massive 194 special attack stat. That thing would wreck the game. Alright, let's get back on schedule. The next thing I wanted to talk about was my Pewter Mart buy. In the Pewter City Market, you can buy escape ropes, and I bought one because I want to skip the escape rope and rare candy in Mount Moon. In fact, skipping candies is going to be a theme of this run because I want to cut out as much as I can to get the best possible time as I can. Currently, the best in-game time I've gotten on my channel for any Generation 1 run is with Hisuian Zoroark, and my goal is to beat that time, and I'm confident Mewtwo can. We're going to jump ahead to Cerulean City. The first thing I'm going to do is stop by the Pokemon Center to set that as my waypoint. Then I'm going to grab the hidden rare candy. This is going to be one of like 5 I pick up throughout the playthrough, and without saving, I'm going to take on the rival, and not saving is going to be another common theme in this playthrough. And while it might feel like you're severely underleveled for this battle being in the slow level up group, remember, you're a Mewtwo. The only annoying thing would be if Psychic didn't one-shot Pidgeotto and it hits you with Sand Attack, but I get a critical hit in this battle. I have Swift for the Abra, which has frail defense, and Psychic just mows down the rest of his team. There really hasn't been much to talk about to this point, for good reason. Mewtwo is really good without saying. Nugget Bridge is a place where you want some PP management, at least if you want to skip a heal in Cerulean. Confusion one-shots all of the weak bugs and poison types, so you really don't have to worry there. And if you really wanted to speed up this part of the game, I know everybody talks about red bar strats, but there are Pidgeys with quick attack on the route, so use at your own risk. I do pick up the hidden ether right before Bill's house because I myself tried to skip a heal. After helping Bill, I escape rope back to town and enter the gym, and as I battle the junior trainer in front of Misty, I have one use of Psychic left, and after defeating her, I can use the ether to restore my power points. And this is where I actually take my first save in the run, because Misty can cause problems. Staryu is first in Psychic one-shots. Surprise, surprise. Against Starmie, I'm going to continue to use Psychic. Although it's not very effective, I'm hoping for special drops, which I get on my second use. Unfortunately, Starmie's Bubble Beam gets a crit, bringing me to half and lowering my speed, giving Starmie the outspeed. She chooses Tackle, as my next Psychic brings it on low red health, getting another special drop, but her next Bubble Beam crits again, leaving me on 4 HP. This battle was too close for comfort. You might be getting ready to say in the comments, what about Mega Punch? Wouldn't that help here? Which I'm sure it could, but you also waste time going to pick up the TM, opening the menu to teach the TM, and we're trying to cut time. But speaking of TMs, on the SSN, we have the first that we're grabbing, Body Slam. Before I started this run, I thought about the possibility of skipping this TM and grabbing Tri Attack instead, since I'll be picking up the Ice Beam TM as well, and it's right there. But the increase in power, PP, and a chance for paralysis was too good to pass up. If Tri Attack had its Gen 2 effect in Generation 1, perhaps. There's going to be no Gentleman Candy today. Just grab Body Slam, teach Body Slam, head straight to Rival 3. Do not pass go, do not collect $200. And this battle is no different than Rival 2. Psychic can one-shot Pidgeotto, Raticate, and Wartortle, and Body Slam for Kadabra. Did you expect anything less from a legendary Pokemon? Lieutenant Surge, it's the same as the rival. Put your cursor on Psychic and one-shot his electric types. Again, did you expect anything less from a legendary Pokemon? The prize for defeating him is Thunderbolt, which thanks to the power of video editing, you don't see me teach immediately. And there really isn't much else to talk about from here, so let's pick things up outside of Rock Tunnel. And you're going to see me pick up a Max Ether. I thought I could skip a heal later on, but I don't think I end up using this item, which just ends up being wasted time. But I do have my one blunder of the run coming up. Past the Gambler and Lass, you just have to battle one of them to continue. There's a cluster of 4 trainers to the left, and I hold my cursor left a little too long and run into this Lass with 5 Pokemon. And I can't lie, I wanted to just restart the run because it doesn't take long to get back to this point, but I decided to press on since it is my first ever Mewtwo run. Once I arrive in Celadon, I do my Repel buy and head to the top floor of the department store and grab 2 fresh waters, one of which I trade for the Ice Beam TM, and our moveset is now complete. I grab the HM for Fly and head to the Rocket Game Corner. Now, there might be another commenter getting ready to type, couldn't you just do the Pokédoll glitch skip to save time with Mewtwo? And the answer is yes, I could. But on this channel, we don't do that, and there's nothing wrong with that, or channels that do. Everyone has their own rules. But let's talk about Giovanni, which as you can imagine is no challenge at all. Psychic gets the clean sweep. Let's go ahead and finish up our business in Celadon by heading to the gym to take on Erica. I imagine this one is going to be just as easy. It's no surprise that Psychic will one-shot both the Victreebel and Vileplume being part poison types. Tangela barely hangs on from a Psychic and just wastes my time with Bind, and perhaps I should have went for Ice Beam for the super effective damage. Either way, that's 4 easy badges and we can move on. Next up is Pokemon Tower, and the rival is the same as the other rival battles we've seen so far. I have super effective damage against 3 of his Pokemon, while Body Slam and Psychic can just one-shot the other 2, which again, I don't think anybody who clicked on this video is surprised that Mewtwo is just mowing down Kanto. It is the strongest Pokemon in Generation 1 after all. As usual, nothing of interest happens in Pokemon Tower, and I need to decide where to go next, and I decided on Cycling Road in Fuchsia City. You're going to see me pick up the hidden rare candy here, and this was a misplay on my part. I'm only going to be using 5 candies in this run, and this 6th is just going to sit in my bag. If you're wondering about the other candies I get in this run aside from this one, there's the Cerulean candy, Pokemon Tower candy, Rocket Hideout candy, and the 2 in Cinnabar Mansion. Going in, I knew I was only going to need 5 candies, but I always forget about that one in Pokemon Tower that's literally blocking your path that you need to pick up. Once I arrive in Fuchsia, I can quickly run through the Safari Zone and pick up the final HMs of the run. No need to pick up any of the vitamins hanging around or TMs to sell for money, although I did pick up the full restore in the Safari Zone and used it before battling Koga, because the juggler with a Hypno managed to get me to half HP, but honestly, Mewtwo doesn't need to heal before Koga, considering that it should just be a clean sweep. Koga goes exactly how you think he would. Put your cursor on Psychic, hold down the A button and you win. Congrats on earning the soul badge. Now I'm going to head to Silphco, and when I get to the 5th floor, you're going to see me pick up the elixir. This is another item that I don't need to be picking up, and it's just wasting time. You only need 1 elixir going into the league that you can pop after Lance, but aside from that, before Rival 5, I'm actually going to take my second save of this run, which you don't see thanks to the power of video editing. Anyway, with Rival 5, the only things to note are that I can't one-shot Alakazam, and I can't one-shot Blastoise. Everything else doesn't stand a chance. I do paralyze the Alakazam with Body Slam though, so it doesn't get a turn in battle and won't spam Recover or Disable, or whatever this thing has aside from Psybeam. And Blastoise's moves have generally fallen off to this point, like Bubble, Water Gun, Bite, but we get the retroactive potion after Thunderbolt leaves it on low health, so the safety save before the rival, something I can cut out for the future. Giovanni. He's here, he's easy. Let's move on to the Saffron Gym, where we can fight Psychic Powers against Psychic Powers, against probably the most annoying gym leader in this playthrough. Aside from the rival and champion's Alakazam, Sabrina's Alakazam is the other reason why you would want to pick up Body Slam. Due to her AI, she's just going to spam Recover, and Body Slam will hit harder than any of your special moves, due to Alakazam being so defensively frail. I get lucky in this one though, paralyzing it and it doesn't move, so it's a pretty quick battle. Only 2 badges left to go. We can head to Cinnabar Island. I mentioned earlier how I'm going to pick up the 2 candies there. There is also the TM for Blizzard, which I end up skipping. If you did choose to pick it up though, I don't think it's a waste because it will hit harder than Ice Beam against Exeggutor. Or if you wanted, you could opt for something like Fire Blast, which you get from Blaine. But also, because I'm such a low level, I get 2 muck encounters in the basement of the mansion, which just slows me down some. Perhaps using candies here in the future wouldn't be such a bad idea. Anyway, let's go ahead and face Blaine. I haven't healed in a hot minute, so I only have 4 PP of Psychic going into this one. 2 of those uses will one-shot the Growlithe and Ponyta, but Rapidash tanks one, doing 2/3. We do get the retroactive Super Potion and Thunderbolt can take it out, and now we have Arcanine. Psychic does less than half, but we get a special drop, as it goes for Takedown. Not doing much, and due to the recoil, its HP drops to half. Thunderbolt is able to finish it off, earning us the 7th gym badge. Let's hop right into Giovanni. Ice Beam for the Rhyhorn, Dugtrio, and Rhydon. Psychic for the Nidos. I don't need to say anything else. Before the Rival 6 fight, I take my 3rd save of this playthrough. Due to being on nearly minimum battles, Mewtwo is level 41, but it will hit level 42 after knocking out Pidgeot, and this battle does get a bit close, partly because I didn't heal before it. The first 4 Pokemon, they're a foregone conclusion. They're all one-shots, but we have to talk about the final 2 Pokemon, Alakazam and Blastoise. Body Slam does half to Alakazam as it sets up Reflect, which is what you don't want to see, because now my Body Slams are going to be doing significantly less. I do paralyze the Psychic type with my next use of the move, but it keeps fighting through paralysis, going for Recover, and then starts attacking me with Psybeam. And you can see me change my moves up trying to change the RNG of this battle. Eventually, I am able to take out the annoying Psychic type and move on to Blastoise. While Thunderbolt doesn't one-shot, it just goes for Bite. I take it out, hit level 43 at the end of the battle, and once I arrived at Indigo Plateau, I'm going to use 5 candies to go from 43 to 48. Now, it's time to see how the league stands up to the strongest Pokemon in Kanto. I thought I'd change up the music to Mewtwo's battle theme from Pokemon Stadium for this run. Anyway, I have to 2-shot Lorelei's lead Dugong, who just goes for Takedown, not doing much. Thunderbolt can one-shot the following Cloyster and Slowbro, although I think the crit mattered for her tanky Psychic type. But now we have Jinx. Body Slam has to 2-shot the frail Psychic Ice type, giving it a chance to strike me with Ice Punch, which doesn't freeze, and we can move on to Lapras. Thunderbolt will 2-shot the Loch Ness Monster, but Lapras rips a Blizzard. handing Mewtwo its first reset of the run thanks to the freeze. F's in the comments here, perfect run over. In the next battle, I easily make it back to Lapras, not getting frozen in my tracks, and that's one member down, Bruno. Next up is Agatha. Just hold your cursor on Psychic. I don't know if the crit mattered on the first Gengar and Haunter, but I don't crit the final Gengar, which leaves it on low red health. But we get the retroactive Super Potion and none of Agatha's normal trolley tactics. Lance is last. I have Ice Beam, I have Thunderbolt, and 154 base special. What more do I need to say? After I defeat Lance, I'm going to pop the 1 elixir you need to restore my PP, and now it's time for the final battle. Pidgeot is first. Thunderbolt isn't enough to one-shot it, but it just charges for Sky Attack and falls on the next turn. Alakazam is next, and it's doing the recover spam as Body Slam does half. My next does paralyze it though, and it can't move due to the status condition and falls on the next turn. Against Rhydon, I have a Gen 1 miss with Ice Beam, which is annoying as it badge boosts me with Leer, but when Ice Beam does hit, you know it's going to easily one-shot the Rhino. Arcanine is next, and Psychic does over half, but it also just goes for Leer, and a second takes it out. Moving on to Exeggutor. I did level up to the next damage rounding threshold, so Ice Beam will be doing more, and a critical hit like I just got definitely helps. Thanks to those 2 Leers I took earlier, its Stomp does a quarter to me, but that's not going to matter. Blastoise is last, and while Thunderbolt leaves it on low red health, instead of going for something like Blizzard, it chooses Withdraw. Mewtwo takes out the tanky turtle, and my best run to date is complete. Mewtwo completes the game with 1 reset at level 53 with an in-game time of 2 hours and 3 minutes. My fastest run ever. And while this beats out my fastest backport time with Hisuian Zoroark and the fastest time I got using the Sanqui randomizer with Regigigas, I was a little disappointed I didn't get under the 2-hour mark, but I think if I cleaned up some of those little things I pointed out in the first run, we easily could. So I came back and tried again, and we're going to jump to the champion fight in my second playthrough. Mewtwo has 0 resets to this point, and is at a lower level because I forgot to use my candies before Lorelei. Thankfully that wasn't a problem. Like last time, Psychic is a 2-shot. However, this time Arcanine chooses Ember, burning me. And because I can't one-shot the remaining Pokemon, I'll be taking chip damage at the end of each turn, and the next Pokemon is Exeggutor, who I have to 3-shot with Ice Beam, and it wastes my time going for Barrage. And I was starting to get a little worried, because I'm working against the clock right now. Once again against Blastoise, Thunderbolt has to 2-shot, and it chooses Withdraw again, and falls again. Mewtwo beats the game 1 level lower than my first run at level 52, and I hit my goal of under 2 hours in-game time with a 1 hour and 58 minute time finish. This run was great. I know the video isn't going to be very long, but that's okay. Mewtwo doesn't need 40 minutes of screen time, at least not in Red and Blue. However, after my first run, I was curious how it would do in Gens 5 and 6, and I have those ready to be edited, as long as you, the viewers, are interested. As always, thank you for the continued support on the channel. I'll see you next week when I attempt my first Nuzlocke in almost a year. Take care, everybody.